Imagine building like 80% of a bridge
Okay.
and then just calling it a success.
Yeah.
I mean, in high school, an 80% is a B minus, which, feels perfectly fine.
Yeah, you pass, you move on to the next class.
Exactly. You pass.
Yeah.
But in the real world AI economy, an 80% competency rate is basically a diving board to nowhere.
It really is. It's dangerous, honestly.
Right. And today on the deep dive, we are looking at exactly why current artificial intelligence education is stranding professionals right over the rushing water.
Because generic AI training programs, the ones the entire workforce is just rushing to consume right now, they consistently fail when it comes to high-stakes implementation.
Yeah, the real world application.
Right. Because if a role requires highly sensitive, like zero-error execution.
Or medical data analysis or something.
Exactly. Medical data, financial compliance, in those areas, that 20% gap is not just some acceptable margin of error.
It's a disaster.
It is a catastrophic failure waiting to happen.
Okay, let's unpack this because we are analyzing an April 2026 breakthrough from EON Reality.
Right.
Specifically, their EON AI Ventures arm, and a platform they've just launched called OH WOW B2C.
Such an interesting name.
Yeah, it really is. And we're diving into their white paper and launch materials today. And what jumps out immediately to me is this attempt to take that 20% competency gap, which is terrifying for the average worker, by the way.
Absolutely terrifying.
And engineer a bridge all the way across.
What's fascinating here is just the sheer scale of the pivot EON is making. Because, EON Reality has a 25-year history, right?
Yeah.
But historically, their entire ecosystem has been built around enterprise innovation.
Big corporate stuff.
Huge corporate stuff. We are talking about massive industrial-grade, immersive learning, and extended reality.
The XR solutions.
XR solutions deployed across, 6 continents.
Mm-hmm.
They build simulations for environments where that 100% precision is quite literally life or death.
So, if you are training someone to repair a commercial jet engine in spatial computing, you can't accept a B minus.
Definitely not.
You don't want the mechanic knowing mostly how to bolt the turbine.
Yeah, no, they either know the exact specification or the engine fails mid-flight.
Exactly. But taking this massive, deeply complex, enterprise-grade learning system and then squishing it down into a direct-to-consumer platform, that feels like a massive leap to me.
It is.
It's like trying to sell, military-grade flight simulators to people who just want to learn how to parallel park.
That gap in complexity is the exact problem they are attempting to solve here.
Okay.
Because the underlying architecture of OH WOW B2C, it relies on modularizing that intense enterprise-level pedagogical engine.
So they aren't watering down the training.
No, not at all. They are translating the methodology of absolute precision for the individual consumer.
I see.
Because the individual worker is currently facing the exact same challenge that the enterprise clients face. Off-the-shelf AI tools are super impressive, right?
Okay. Oh, for sure.
But they don't integrate seamlessly into strict outcome-focused workflows unless you have rigorous, specialized frameworks.
Which most people don't have. And, we really have to look at the data driving this panic because the source material points out a totally staggering metric.
Yeah, this number is wild.
Approximately 63% of professionals currently feel displaced due to AI.
63%.
Nearly 2/3 of the professional workforce. They're waking up, opening their laptops, and just staring at that 80% bridge.
Right.
Fully aware they don't know how to reach the other side.
And the broader picture really explains why that 63% feels so uniquely abandoned right now.
How so?
Well, traditional academic institutions are profoundly struggling to keep pace.
Oh, yeah. Higher ed is so slow.
Exactly. The administrative mechanics of a university dictate that a new syllabus might take, 2 years of committee reviews and accreditation checks to get approved?
Yeah, at least 2 years. Meanwhile, the underlying AI technology is shifting entirely in a matter of weeks. By the time a student sits down in a lecture hall, a 2-year-old curriculum on large language models basically belongs in a museum.
It's ancient history.
So students are graduating and stepping into the workforce, only to realize their brand new, really expensive degrees haven't actually equipped them with practical, career-ready literacy.
Right. And that academic lag leaves absolutely everyone stranded.
Not just students.
Right, because current professionals, they don't have time to go back to school for a degree that will be outdated by the time they graduate.
Nobody has time for that.
And aspiring entrepreneurs, they hit massive operational barriers. They might have the vision to capitalize on the AI revolution, right?
Yeah, that big idea.
But they lack the technical frameworks to actually build and scale those AI-powered innovations.
Which brings us to the actual platform. Because academic institutions are lagging and generic online courses completely fail the precision test, EON Reality designed this multi-tiered architecture.
A very specific architecture.
Yeah, designed to catch you, the listener, regardless of your starting point. So the white paper outlines 3 distinct entryways.
Let's go through them.
Yeah, so the first one was called the AI jobs test.
Oh.
And I'm going to push back hard on this one right off the bat.
Okay, let's hear it.
Because I've taken, I don't know, a dozen what's your AI persona quizzes online.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And most of them are literally just lead generation tools to capture an email address and sell you a newsletter.
Right, right.
So how can an automated web test accurately assess complex, nuanced corporate skills?
Well, a simple multiple choice quiz cannot.
Exactly.
But the documentation details that EON's diagnostic tool is completely different. It systematically evaluates readiness against deeply specific role requirements.
Okay.
It is actively cross-referencing current market capability standards with the user's specific deficits.
So it's not just a personality thing.
Now, the mechanism here goes way beyond asking if you know what ChatGPT stands for. It audits your obsolescence in real time.
Wow. Audits your obsolescence. That's a
Yeah.
scary phrase.
It is, but it's necessary. It pinpoints your exact functional skill gaps based on the industry you are currently operating in.
So it's basically hunting for the missing planks in your personal bridge.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it.
Like, if I tell it I'm a supply chain manager, it's not going to test me on Python coding for generative art.
Definitely not.
It's going to find out if I understand how to use predictive AI to optimize freight routes.
Exactly. And once it maps that deficit, it immediately generates a customized educational pathway to bridge that specific gap.
Oh, so it hands you the solution right there.
Yes, and this is a crucial psychological shift for the user.
Oh, so?
Well, it takes that vague, overwhelming anxiety, that 63% displacement fear we talked about.
Yeah, the panic.
Right. It takes that and converts it into actionable, highly structured data.
So you go from feeling totally terrified of this invisible threat to just staring at a checklist. That makes total sense. And once you have that diagnosis, you move into the actual upskilling phase.
Right.
The second entryway they outline is AI Fluency.
Right.
And the material presents this as a flexible, self-paced program aimed at broad foundational knowledge.
Because, look, not everyone needs to be a hardcore AI engineer,
Right.
but almost everyone is going to need to be demonstrably AI fluent.
Just to survive the job market.
Right. So the mechanism driving this tier is all about systematically demystifying the jargon and building practical competencies step by step.
So it acts as the baseline corrective for that outdated university curriculum we discussed earlier.
Exactly. It fills in the foundation.
Okay, so if the AI jobs test tells you what you don't know,
Yep.
and AI Fluency gives you the baseline language to start fixing it. The third entryway is where we really shift from consumption to creation.
Yes, the AI Wayfinder.
Yeah, I call it the AI Wayfinder. But the documentation leans heavily on marketing speak here, calling it like robust tools for ideation and design. I want to know what it actually does. Like, if I am an entrepreneur, does this system actually write code for me? Does it critique my business plan?
Wayfinder functions more as an architectural roadmap for innovation.
Okay.
Because if you are an aspiring creator, simply understanding how a generative model works is completely insufficient for launching a competitive product.
Oh, totally. It's like knowing how a hammer works, but not knowing how to build a house.
Exactly. So the Wayfinder framework bridges that massive gap between raw ideation and commercial deployment.
How?
It provides the literal operational blueprints, the design frameworks, the implementation models, the resource guidance, everything necessary to turn an abstract AI concept into a scalable business opportunity.
Oh, wow. So it's an accelerator.
Yes, precisely.
You aren't just passively learning, you are actively building inside their framework.
Right.
Okay, so we have these 3 specific funnels. You diagnose the gap, you build a fluency, or you blueprint the business.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Once you walk through any of those 3 doors, you end up in the exact same centralized ecosystem.
Right, the campus.
Yeah, the white paper refers to this as the global virtual campus. Now, I have to be honest, whenever I hear campus in a tech context, I automatically assume it's just a walled garden of static video lectures.
Well, the terminology kind of masks the actual disruptive element here,
Which is,
the business model itself.
really?
Yeah, they're consolidating all of these highly customized learning journeys into a subscription-based platform.
Okay, subscription.
Think about it. Historically, bridging a complex technical gap to achieve 100% career readiness.
That required returning to university.
Right. Or paying thousands of dollars for some intensive specialized boot camp.
Yeah, and the vast majority of the global workforce, they do not have $5,000 in 6 months to just step away from their jobs to reskill.
Exactly. So EON AI Ventures is pricing access to this entire ecosystem at $19 to $49 per month.
Wait, $19?
19 to 49. They are taking outcome-focused, enterprise-grade AI adoption and scaling it down to the price of a monthly streaming service.
That's insane.
Democratizing that level of precision fundamentally shifts who gets to participate in the AI economy. It completely strips away the financial barrier to absolute competency.
Making it a utility is a massive play.
Huge.
But, building an affordable, highly precise platform is only half the equation here.
Sure.
You still have to actually get it in front of the people who need it.
Right, distribution.
Because the 63% of the workforce quietly panicking about their obsolescence, they aren't wearing name tags that say, I am terrified of automation.
No, they definitely are not.
They're hiding in their departments just hoping the wave passes over them.
Yeah.
So how is EON actively locating these learners?
Okay, so the underlying architecture powering their outreach is called the B2C radar-led engine.
Radar-led engine.
Yeah, and the engineering behind this is really critical to understand because it dictates their scale.
Right.
The system utilizes techniques like query expansion and email pattern guessing to systematically penetrate institutional silos.
Okay, let's break those terms down, starting with query expansion.
Sure.
I imagine it's like sending a single private investigator into an impossibly massive library.
Okay.
And instead of looking for one specific book, the investigator instantly clones themselves 1,000 times over, checking every single index card, cross-referencing every related term, title, and regional variation simultaneously.
Yes, that's a great analogy. The algorithm takes a narrow search parameter.
Like identifying a department head of computer science.
Exactly, or a corporate training director. And it autonomously broadens the semantic net. It basically maps the organizational chart of an institution globally without needing a human to manually input thousands of search variations.
So it's practically interviewing the internet to find the exact gatekeepers.
Right. And once it finds the right profile, the system shifts to what they call email pattern guessing.
Which honestly sounds like a polite way of saying it's algorithmic deduction.
Basically, yeah.
It reverse engineers the corporate or academic email structures, like first initial dot last name at university.edu,
Right.
and then automatically verifies that communication bridge.
And the sheer volume this engine operates at, it's laid out specifically in the source material.
Yeah, what are the numbers?
Well, EON has already established connection points at 10,400 institutions across 64 countries.
10,000.
10,400. They have successfully identified 13,165 gatekeepers.
Wow.
And they've gathered 1,549 verified emails dedicated exclusively to workforce outreach.
So they're not just running passive banner ads on search engines hoping someone clicks.
No.
They're surgically infiltrating the global networks of education and industry.
Exactly.
And they have the pedigree to back up the outreach. I mean, any newly minted startup can spin up a landing page and charge $20 for an AI course.
Sure, anyone can do that.
But when you look at EON Reality's background, this isn't some tech company trying to figure out how to teach.
No, the establishment of EON AI Ventures leverages 2.5 decades of matured educational methodology.
25 years.
Right, because building spatial computing environments for enterprise clients, that requires a pedagogical engine that leaves zero room for error.
Right, the jet engine example.
Exactly. They have already mastered the delivery of complex technical skills where precision is mandatory. And now they are just plugging that deeply refined educational core into a new direct-to-consumer delivery mechanism.
So what does this all mean? We've navigated from systemic workforce panic all the way through the failures of traditional academia and down into the exact architecture of EON's new platform.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
For you, the listener, whether you are that student staring at an outdated syllabus or a professional lying awake worrying about automation, or even an entrepreneur sketching out ideas that you don't know how to build, The mechanics now exist to close that critical 20% competency gap.
Mm.
The bridge can actually be finished.
It can. And
Yeah.
the fear of displacement, I mean, it's entirely rational, but it is no longer an unsolvable equation.
Exactly.
Dan Lidgerskar, who is the chairman of EON AI Ventures and EON Reality, he anchors this initiative perfectly in the launch materials.
What does he say?
He notes that by aligning the AI jobs test, AI Fluency, and AI Wayfinder with the global virtual campus, they are meeting both the fear and opportunity of the AI era head-on.
I love that.
He emphasizes that this initiative is not merely about education, it is about transformation.
Transformation. Taking the blueprint, diagnosing the exact missing materials, and laying down the concrete to get all the way across the rushing river of this new economy.
Perfectly said.
It shifts the burden of obsolescence from a systemic failure to an individual choice.
Yeah.
The tools are literally right there for less than a gym membership.
Yeah, $19 a month. And we have established that the 20% gap is where displacement fear lives, right?
Yeah.
So, if platforms like OH WOW B2C successfully bridge that final gap to 100% precision for anyone with a $19 monthly subscription, we really must consider the macroeconomic ripple effect.
Okay, where are you going with this?
Well, what happens to the global economy when perfect AI fluency is no longer a rare, highly compensated specialty?
Oh, wow.
What happens when 100% precision becomes the ubiquitous baseline standard for absolutely everyone in the workforce?
Because once everyone can safely cross the bridge, simply being on the other side is no longer an advantage.
Right. You're just there with everyone else.
You have to figure out how to operate in a completely saturated landscape. Like, how do you stand out? How do you provide unique human value in a world where every single person is entirely AI fluent?
It's the ultimate question.
It really is. Something to definitely mull over as you look at your own skill sets. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.